Afternoon guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about one-handed fire techniques. Obviously in an emergency situation, it could come to that where you've injured your arm or something to that effect, and you need to be able to start a fire using only one arm. So we're going to discuss that a little bit and give you a couple different demonstrations. This seems like it'd be an easy task, a no-brainer pretty much, but you'd be amazed at some of the things I've seen on how people attempt to do this. So I'll show you a few different techniques that are easy, safe, effective, and you guys can take it from there, add it to your haversack, you know, something to keep in the back for later on should you need it. So let me adjust the camera, break out some equipment to do this with, and we'll get going. Our first technique, pretty simple one, and like I said, you'd be amazed how when put on the spot or add a little pressure, people can't think of something this simple. And that's probably the case, you know, if you were actually in a survival situation or something like that. You know, the pressure's on you. Mind's probably not thinking right, stuff like that, and you just tend to overthink things and make things complicated on yourself. So again, just a simple technique, something you can throw in your haversack, save for later should you ever need it. Hopefully you won't, but just a couple of the things that I've seen in the past. I've seen someone try to stick their knife in a piece of wood to scrape their ferro rod, and if you only have one hand, you obviously can't hold your knife. So they attempt that, obviously pull the knife over, knock it over, stuff like that. Another one I seen, knife in between the legs, one of these numbers. Doing it that way, it's unsafe first of all, but now you're so far away from whatever it is you're trying to strike that you're probably not going to get it started. Another technique that I've seen used, and this can work depending on what type of ground you're using, is just sticking your knife in the ground, putting your tinder behind it and striking it that way. You can even support it a little bit with your knee and pull it that way. That's not a bad one, other than, you know, do you really want to be sticking your knife in the ground? That's up to debate, I guess. Survival situation, I guess you're not so worried about keeping your knife sharp or damaging it if you needed to get a fire going, so I'd probably buy that one for $1. But one of the easiest ways and safest ways to do this, I've got a fire lay set up here. I'm not actually trying to start a fire, I'm just trying to show you guys some techniques. So taking your knife, putting it like such, I'll try to get a cotton ball here, which I know a lot of you guys like to carry. Get it stressed out. Again, surface area, right? That's what it's all about. Tuck that thing underneath. Like that. And then simply stepping on your knife handle to leave it there. I would say probably the safest way to do this, step on it with your opposite foot of what your striking hand is to keep the blade facing away from you, just in case you fall over or something like that. You never know. So step on your knife, take your ferro rod and scrape. And you can see the cotton balls on fire. That's probably the easiest, no-brainer way to do that, and like I said, you'd be surprised that, you know, people can't think that simple when put under pressure. So that's one technique with the knife. Again, the sticking the knife in the ground thing and supporting it with your knee. It is a technique, probably not the technique, preferred one anyways. So that's with your knife and ferro rod. Now let's go to another common piece of gear that people carry. So this time, I'm just going to use a Strike Force. This one's from the Pathfinder school, but Again, with the cotton ball, I'm not really trying to start a fire. If you watched my 5-minute sustainable fire, you'd know that it wouldn't be too difficult for me to get a fire going right here. But again, stress the cotton ball out. And basically, we can use this strike force very similar to how we just did the knife and the ferro rod. You can pop this open. This one's brand new, so I'm going to have to scrape some of that coating off the rod there. Alright, so one-handed with the strike force. This one, you can go ahead and use your knee to help support the strike force, because you don't have a lot of room, you know, with this, the way it's attached, the cap's attached here with this cordage. So you could even take your cotton ball, set it down, and put your strike force right on top of it, holding it down like such, and then it's just a matter of scraping it. And that took one scrape, you can see that. So that's one technique, easy to do, one hand with a strike force. Pretty simple stuff here, guys. I'm not trying to sound like a rocket scientist, believe me. Alright, get one more cotton ball out. Try another way to do it. Again, stressing that thing out. I'm going to do away with this big one for this purpose because, again, the strike force is kind of small. You don't have as much room to work with. Again, place your strike force right on top of the tinder you're trying to ignite. In this case, instead of using my foot, I'm going to go ahead and put my knee on the strike force using one hand. Give it a scrape, and we got fire. Alright guys, so there you have it. There's at least 3 different techniques, knife and ferro rod or strike force, something like that, that you can use to get a one-handed fire going safely. Like I said, I've seen some people fumble around, not quite sure what to do when under pressure, so before you get yourself into a pressure situation, survival situation, you know, go ahead and add that technique to your haversack. Something to keep in mind for later on should the need arise, and you'll be one ahead of the game. Thanks for joining me for this quick tip or trick video, if that's what you want to call it. Hopefully you guys learned something new and a safe way to do it with one hand. Appreciate your views, comments, support, everything you do for me, my school, and my store. Me and my family both appreciate it very much. So till the next one, take care. See you soon, guys.